Hello, everyone. I'm Beth Ruske, and this is Andrea Henning, and we're here today producing a Tiara Talk. And our topic today is following on to a month-long conversation we've been having about community. And today we've been engaged with all of our certified coaches and members of the coach community in our community. We've been talking about, how has your leadership shown up in the world, and who are you as it reflects in the world? And those might sound like pretty simple questions, but we went through a couple exercises that took things deep, and we want to share some of the insights from that exercise and also leave you with some of the questions. So when you do have a moment, you can be asking yourself some of these questions and see what comes up for you. Andrea, you led the conversation today, which was really wonderful. This question, who are you? How do we typically answer that question when someone asks us? So who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Exactly. And you had this beautiful expression that I've never heard before, the rank number, and I don't know what you said.
I said name, rank, and serial number. It's kind of it's an army term,
Exactly.
Your name, rank, and serial number.
Exactly. And then you know who I am. Yeah. And this is a pretty important piece, the name, rank, and serial number in certain organizations. And you don't know anything about the other person with an answer like that. And especially as women, we tend to be more curious to really know the other person because we want to have some kind of connectedness. And so I'm always looking for what kind of question could I ask that brings me straight to something that I could feel about the other person. And often these questions are pretty deep. So also when we ask them in our workshops or in our meetings and get-togethers, we normally give people some time to think about it, but from a place of connectedness, so not thinking with the head and answer it, but from an inquiry place, being curious, what comes up when you ask yourself a question like that? And the three questions that led to, who are you today, where the first was, what is your passion? Which is an obvious one. We are using it more often. But the other two, they really go deep when you think about it. The second was, what has informed you who you are? What has informed who you are? Oh my God. Like you go right back to childhood, to pivotal moments and all that. And then trusting the first answers there because it will show you, it will point to the essence of it. And then the last one that I love, and I'm still in the process of answering that, is what did you question along the way? What did you question along the way? And this is also counterbalancing a bit what the latest complaints about Facebook and social media, that you see all this shiny, look at me here on vacation, in COVID a little bit less, but look at me here with my fabulous glass of wine or cup of coffee in this fabulous view. And that doesn't show what we question. And I think this is so important in connecting us to our humanity, to be in a safe space, safe and brave space, that we can actually go to the answer to that. And that's, for me, one of the most interesting things.
Yeah. It's so interesting to really, we've given talks about, really connecting with people. And there's a way that people connect when you just feel like they see you. We use the phrase sometimes, I feel like they got me, or I feel gotten, in a good way,
Yeah.
And, having that, ability for you as a listener to, really kind of hear who somebody is without judgment. It's just one of those things. Oh, what an interesting human being. So it's interesting, when I say, who am I? There are so many people who are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, oh my God, they're so braggadocious, or they're so this, or they're so that. We're asking you is to suspend judgment and just kind of not only get to know us, let us be examples for how you could possibly get to know people. And this is a very cool thing to do, even with people you know and you know really well, because it creates another layer of connectedness and relationship. So, in this exercise, who are you? I didn't go to the traditional name, rank, and serial number. I started asking, I realized I'm a very powerful person. I'm a very powerful woman. I see change and I'm willing to embrace it. And I'm willing to steer that ship. And I probably need to learn to be a better follower sometimes, but it's a willingness. And I don't claim to be right. I don't claim to have answers, but I'm willing to take that first step with courage. So that's the type of person I am. But the other part of that is I also am somebody who loves very, very big, very much. I have, great relationships with my family, my friends, my business partners, my clients, and they are deep partnership is a key phrase for me. And those are partnerships, and the ability to love somebody and to allow yourself to be loved while you're a powerful person, that is not easy. That is not easy. And I've learned that over the years. How about you? How do you embrace this question? Who am I?
First of all, but I love it how you own that piece, because that is a whole journey in itself. You could have questioned these answers that you were given a couple of years ago, like, oh, who am I to say this out loud? But it is actually an outcome from owning, from a lot of inquiry, getting to know your bright side, your shadow sides, and owning who you really are, and also be able to just shout out. And this is actually one of the things that I'm passionate about, this truthfulness. I am really a very, very compassionate person. I mean, there are a lot of compassionate person, but I can say that I go the extra mile for that piece. And this also is one of my pitfalls, that my compassion for others often make me sacrifice something about myself, my own health, for instance, maybe in jeopardy. And for me, quite a journey how to stay in this compassionate piece. The one thing that makes me who I am, that's my talent and my beauty, and then still discover how I can work through the shadow side there. And I can also say that now I am a pretty good blend of compassion and being able to place my boundaries. There in a very in a non-harming way, but it is like, don't mess with me. I can have that. I know that I radiate that now.
You're a badass. I love that. Another question that we like to ask is, for people to own this, not only own the answer, but to own the impact. And that is, how is your leadership needed in the world today? How does your leadership show up, and how is it needed in the world today? And to really own that space.
Exactly.
I know for me, I'm willing to have tough conversations in climates that are sometimes not as safe as I'd like, and we're not as listening and as loving as perhaps we could be in order to, really hear each other. But I'm still willing to stand there and to hold the space and to learn and to challenge, I think I have to continue to learn to challenge lovingly, because sometimes my frustration gets the better of me, but that's my journey. But I think the world needs that. I really do. I think the world needs that courage.
And I think the world needs all our leadership. Once we own it, we can actually see how necessary it is. My leadership, for instance, you can see it in the questions that I come up with, because the answers to these questions immediately lead us in a space where we can connect beyond our polarization. And this is what we need most, like conversations that make us feel our common humanity, how split we might be on any other subject, whether it's political or spiritual. There's a lot of split going on, even in communities that call themselves very spiritual. There is this against thing, the polarization thing. So I am willing to endure whatever polarity is there, even if it's geared towards me sometimes or to myself, and then stay in there, and then all of a sudden we can get into this other place where there is connection naturally.
Yes.
There.
Yeah. Well, we're at the end of our time, and I just wanted to thank everyone for watching the video and for listening to the questions. And hopefully you'll have the space in your life, even driving your car, to ask yourself some of these questions and see what comes up for you. Because Andrea's right. Our leadership, all of our leadership, is needed in the world today. So thank you.